What's good? It's your boy Jay. That's me. Let's discuss TNA Impact from February the 28th, 2024. This was the Fallout show from this past Friday's No Surrender. And we are on the road to Sacrifice, which I believe is in, if not next week, it's in the week after. So that's fine. The show overall was okay. It could have been better, but it was okay for the most part. So we kicked the show off with the in loving memory graphics of Ole Anderson and Virgil. And we send our condolences to the families of Virgil and Ole Anderson. Moving on, so we kicked the show off with the first match of the night, that being Speedball Mike Bailey versus Steve Maclin. Steve Maclin defeats Mike Bailey via the KIA, which was great. So post-match, Steve Maclin got on the mic and said, this is what he does. He takes people out. He asked the Rascals if they've seen Nic Nemeth, and he said Nic Nemeth doesn't even show up to work. And he said all along he would abandon this place. So then we go to the Titantron, and Nic Nemeth said that he couldn't be there because he was in Japan winning a title. So he's now the new IWPG Global Champion, and I have no idea why. I mean, I'm glad that Ziggler's got some gold, but damn, New Japan has 30-something titles, if not more. I'm like, damn. So basically, he challenged Steve Maclin to a match at Sacrifice, which is fine. This is great. I love it. This feud is going to be great because I'm a fan of both guys. Maclin was done wrong. I feel like he should have had a longer title run last year. He should have had at least a good 3 to 4 month title run. Actually, no. He should have had at least close to a 6-month title reign. I don't know why, but TNA management at that time fucked him over, but shit happens. But I'm very excited for Nic Nemeth, aka Dolph Ziggler, versus Steve Maclin. That feud should be decent. Moving on. So, Frankie Kazarian tried to get into the building earlier on in the day, and so he was arguing with security. So Gia Miller, she informed Frankie Kazarian that he's been suspended, and Frankie told her to ask Santino Marella if he really thinks this is the right thing to do. And then Frankie walks off. I'm just like, oh my God, this sucks. This is so stupid. Again, why is TNA continuing to push guys that don't make them any money, like PCO, like Khan, like Diener, Rich Swann, Moose, Brian Myers, Eddie Edwards? The list goes on and on and on and on. Stop pushing these guys. Damn. Enough is enough. No one cares about Frankie Kazarian, and no one cares about Eric Young. Enough. I don't give a damn. I don't. I have 0 fucks to give. Moving on from the nonsense. So Jake something, he defeated Laredo Kid via Into the Void. This is fine. I wish that Jake something would have cut a promo, but he didn't. It's fine. I do think that he will be X Division champion sometime before the end of 2024. I think TNA will probably give Mustafa Ali a lengthy reign as champion. And hopefully they play their cards right with that. But that's fine there. Moving on. So Alan Angels interviewed Khan. So we had I think this is the third installment of Soundcheck. So security was on standby. Alan Angels said that he was proud of Khan and noted that they were former partners in the design. So then Alan Angels called him little bro or little brother, and Khan told him to watch his mouth. Alan Angels began to kiss up and suck up to Big Khan. Pause. So So Khan said that he was the baddest man in TNA, and PCO may be dead. So the lights began to flicker and flash. So the screen went black, and the screen went back on white as PCO appeared. So Alan Angels then yelled at PCO that he was ruining the sound check, and then PCO knocked down Alan Angels, and then he tried to brawl with Big Khan, but the segment was cut off. And I'm just like, oh my God, why? Again, what's the infatuation with with Khan and PCO? I see no infatuation with either guy. I just don't. PCO is a veteran, and he should really just be a backstage producer at this point. Khan, I have no idea what you do with him. I don't. I really, really don't. Moving on. So, this leads us into Rich Swann and Joe Hendry versus AJ Francis, a.k.a. Top Dollar, and Diener. I was like, So, before the match took place, Joe Hendry gets on the mic and said that it's the in-ring debut for AJ Francis, and the pressure was on because AJ's whole family and his friend Steve were watching. Joe Hendry said that the last thing AJ wants to do is flop. That was hilarious. Joe Hendry said he didn't want anyone to chant AJ sucks, which they did it immediately. And then Joe Hendry apologized and said the fans also like to chant "We Believe," and they also do that. So thankfully, Joe Hendry and Rich Swann got the win, so that's fine. Joe Hendry wins via the standing ovation on Diener. That's great. So this actually makes sense. I actually wish that Joe Hendry would get more of a push. He's been kind of in this low mid-card type of booking for the last year. So he's been really not doing much of anything. He was digital media champion for, I think, a good 4 to 6 months, I believe, if I can remember correctly. And so far, he's done nothing. And Joe Hendry is a guy that you could actually have him be X Division champion, or even put him in the main event scene and have him be world champion. Like he's believable. He's got a bunch of charisma and everything, and he's a great, lovable babyface. So Joe Hendry deserves better. I mean, he really does. He has a great gimmick, and he's got excellent character work and charisma. Moving on. So Decay, they cut a promo, talked about how losing the belts and having patience. They said they came to New Orleans, and then they continued on saying a bunch of spooky stuff, which really doesn't matter. Moving on. So Tom Hannafin announced that TNA has signed Alexander Hammerstone, and he's going to be facing Josh Alexander at Sacrifice. So this is going to be the second time these guys meet, and I'm all for it. Yes, this is great. When I heard this, I popped. I popped. This kicked major ass. TNA signing Hammerstone is the right decision. This is great. I just hope that they've signed him to a long-term deal, And I think that Hammerstone is a guy that you can build a wrestling promotion around. The guy looks like $1 million. He's great. Really solid promo. Really solid in-ring worker. The guy has all the tools. TNA had better have him signed to at least a 3-year deal. This guy is tremendous. He's tremendous. And I'm actually hoping he actually becomes world champion. At least sometime in 2025. Because we know that Josh Alexander's contract will be up in 2025. And then maybe by that time, Hammerstone could be in the main event scene, working with the likes of Mustafa Ali, maybe Nic Nemeth, a.k.a. Dolph Ziggler, Steve Maclin, if he's still around. I mean, Hammerstone being signed to TNA is great. So this is an excellent signing, and hopefully TNA doesn't screw it up. Moving on. So Gia Miller, she interviewed Josh Alexander. He tried to talk about facing Hammerstone again, but he was interrupted by Dirty Dango, Oleg Prudius, which is Vladimir Kozlov, and Alva Bravo. So they plugged into wrestling school, and then Josh Alexander then proceeded to challenge Dirty Dango to a match. I'm just like, oh my God. Hopefully he loses that next week. Moving on. So next we had the Mustafa Ali inauguration ceremony. So the good hands, they were in suits. They introduced Ali. John Scholar said they were in Mississippi when they were actually in Louisiana, and the fans booed. That was hilarious. Mustafa Ali finally came out with his security. There was a podium and bannering in the ring. So Mustafa Ali gave a victory speech and said they were able to do it because the fans believed in Ali. And Ali chant broke out. So Mustafa Ali was about to make his first executive order when he was rudely interrupted by Chris Sabin. So Chris Sabin challenged Ali to come from behind the podium and talk face to face. They had a little mini stare down. So Chris Sabin talked about change and how people can, how change can, and talk, my bad. So Chris Sabin talked about change and how people can change things if they believe in themselves. Chris Sabin said that Ali thinks it's all about him. And when people like the good hands, and when he gets people like the good hands to do his dirty work. So, Chris Sabin then says if it wasn't for the good hands, he definitely would have still been champion. And then Mustafa Ali says it was slanderous. Mustafa Ali said the good hands were there not because they were being paid, but because they support him. Chris Sabin then said no one in the building supports Ali. Fans standing on Ali. And then Chris Sabin says he wasn't there to debate, he's there to fight. So then he punches Ali. The fans boo, and then Mustafa Ali and the good hands were about to take out Chris Sabin, but then Kushida and Kevin Knight ran in to make the save. And then Ali and his team, they dip out. And then Chris Sabin, Kushida, and Kevin Knight tore up the decorations. I'm just like, this is interesting. It seems like they might be turning Chris Sabin heel and maybe turn Mustafa Ali face because it makes sense. So I don't know. We'll see where that goes. Moving on. Ash by Elegant's assistant brought her to the stage, and then she said that next week she'll have her second match in TNA, which is great. So I'm really digging Dana Brooke so far. I'm loving her character work. Excellent stuff. Moving on. So Mustafa Ali said that Chris Sabin, Kushida, and Kevin Knight ruined everything. He said that they would find out The actions have consequences. Okay, I'm fine. Next. Zaya Brookside versus Tasha Steelz. This was supposed to be the winner will be the new number one contender and face Jordynne Grace at Sacrifice, but it didn't happen. It was a double count out. So then Jordynne Grace came out and she said that both of them were going to get a shot. And it's going to be a triple threat at Sacrifice. That's fine, I guess. Again, like I said before, Jordynne Grace deserves better. Moving on. So, Rhino, he cut a promo, unfortunately, and he said that he challenged Crazy Steve to a no DQ match next week, and he called Crazy Steve a son of a bitch. And I was like, who gives a shit? Main event, Eric Young and Chris Bay and Ace Austin ABC versus the System, Moose, Brian Myers, and Eddie Edwards. I didn't watch the match, didn't give a single fuck about it. So the System, they win. Who cares? And this is stupid. I'm a fan of Ace Austin and Chris Bay, but I don't like Eric Young, Moose, Brian Myers, or Eddie Edwards. So that's why I said fuck this match. But TNA was okay. I'm digging the Mustafa Ali, Chris Sabin feud. I'm digging that. It's interesting to see where they're going to go with Jake something. I'm interested in seeing where they're going with that. Hammerstone being signed to TNA was great, so that was awesome as well. So all in all, TNA was okay. But what did you guys think? Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.